Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of Movie Time. This special edition is going to be a bit of a on the spot, my first thoughts review of X-Men Days of Future Past. I just got home, have had some time to think about things, and this movie was great. I'm flabbergasted at how good this movie was. I went into this movie very excited. I had very high hopes for this movie, and I think everything was met and even then some. Up until this point this year, my favorite movie so far has been Captain America. Great film, great movie. Captain America hit on all the right tone, all the right notes. It hit all the perfect tone between comic book as well as just a good movie. This movie, X-Men Days of Future Past, does that with a different tone, of course, but really just hits on everything that Captain America did, but even then some. It is all perspective, I guess you could say, because they are different movies. So in one aspect, I like this part of Captain America maybe more so than X-Men Days of Future Past. But overall, X-Men Days of Future Past was amazing. It was just amazing. There was a very big portion of this movie where I just literally sat there like, and don't mind me for the science, but I was literally I was just like, oh, what's gonna happen next? And then when it started getting to some parts towards the end of the movie, I was even more so, this is gonna happen. So I want to talk about some positives to this movie. Like I said, this movie is very well made. Very well made. Bryan Singer came back to this movie with a vengeance. He wanted to correct some wrongs. He definitely came back with a solid plan. As I've said before, this cast is a great ensemble cast. One of the best well-rounded acting casts in movies for, I don't know, I've seen quite some time. Hugh Jackman did his thing as Wolverine. It was a slightly different Wolverine than what just came out in the Wolverine from last year, as well as some of the other Wolverines, X-Men 2. But it was a really good take on Wolverine. Really good. Nice to see this side of Wolverine and how far he's come and how much the X-Men, Professor Xavier, they've helped Wolverine come to the point he's at now in this movie. James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart playing the role of Professor Xavier both did amazing. This movie really shows what James McAvoy has to offer as an actor. He really just goes above and beyond what you thought was possible for this type of movie, this type of character. Jumping over to I guess you could say the counterpoint to that character, you have Michael Fassbender and Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, Eric Lensher. Again, two amazing actors. You wouldn't be calling him Sir Ian McKellen for nothing. And shoot, Michael Fassbender. Oh man, dude has some of the best acting chops I've seen. I mean, I don't know. This guy has so much potential. He makes you believe that he is that person on the screen, not that it's him portraying some character. Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique Raven. She did a great job in this one. You could see how much she's grown in this character from First Class to this point. Not only has Jennifer Lawrence matured as an actor and grown into this character and been able to portray different sides of this character, but the character itself, the way it was written, you're able to see how much this character's grown and how much they've come along since First Class. You also see her kind of getting to that point where she's going to be going into, in the previous X-Men movies, where she's a little bit hardcore villain. And I mean, and again, I am going to say some spoilers here, but in this film, she's right there teetering on the edge. You know, if she's going to go that route, go towards the evil side and just be bad, or if she's going to be able to retain some of her goodness, some of that compassion that she has. And in the film, you see her you see her succeed in the way that it's different than what you've seen before, and she chooses that compassionate, good side of her. So that's really good. She did a really good job, Jennifer Lawrence did, in this film as Mystique. Really good job. Really stepped up her game. One of the major characters or villains in this movie was Bolivar Trask, played by Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage, oh man, I remember him from movies years ago, and he was a lot of the time like comedic and comedy relief, and there are these, you know, storylines and plots where they weren't like serious movies, and he's really been on a roll since taking up his you know, acting time in Game of Thrones. He's really done a great job since then, and really gotten some nice roles, and this one is no different. I remember I've watched a few reviews of the movie, and I've seen some people say this, and I think this is very true. They have a good character in Bolivar Trask, and they don't make this character for Peter Dinklage. They don't make anything revolving around Peter Dinklage and his height or what he is as a person. They get this great character, and they have him acted by a great actor. And when you're watching it, you just see Peter Dinklage playing this character, and you see Bolivar Trask, and you understand that he's going through this mental anguish as well. He's striving for something to save life and avoid extinction is what he says exactly. And it's just amazing how he's able to put this out there on screen with nothing taking away from his character, nothing about his height, nothing. You see his character, you see him doing this, and it's just an amazing job. This movie was very well acted. On all corners of this movie was well acted. Even the characters that didn't have a lot of lines, but they're there. You understand what they're doing, the pain they feel, the strife, the tribulations they're going through throughout this whole movie. And it starts at the very beginning with an attack, and you see all these people there watching their friends die or get beaten by these sentinels, and you feel them. You feel for them, and you don't want them to die, but you know, things are happening, and nothing takes you out of it. You're in this moment with them, you feel for them, and they just do a great job. Their expressions, facial expressions were good. The tone of this around all these characters was great. The action in this movie was really, really well done. Now, I do think there could have been more action in this film, but I think there was a good mixture of the film, just story, plot, setting, actors doing their damn thing at a extremely high level, as well as the action mixed in there. And every character in this movie has a different little moment, a different little set piece of action for them, whether it's in the future with those characters, Storm, Iceman, Bishop, Kitty Pryde, all of them, Magneto even, or you're talking about just in the past where people are just acting and moving the story along. The action in this movie went very well with the story. Nothing seemed out of place, and they were even able to put some comedy in some of the action and mix it in there and keep it still very natural. I thought that it was very thought out and very well done. Really good action in this movie. The story could have gone a million ways in this movie, and one of those ways it could have gone is it could have been a very easily to mess up and destroy one of those stories. Because you're dealing with time travel, you have all these possibilities of just messing things up. But I think very early in this movie, Kitty Pryde, Ellen Page states something that, you know, it's very just an offhand sentence, but it does a good job of setting boundaries of what's going on with this time travel. And with that, they were able to move this story forward. It was well written, well acted. It was a very thought out and thorough storyline that was true to the comics, but at the same time was its own story, and that was just amazing. I really loved how it was able to move along, keep everything all going together at the same nice speed, very, very the same tone, very good tone. It was just great. I loved it. Bryan Singer did a great job directing all these characters, all these actors, putting all this plot together, this movement forward with the storyline, all these action sequences. Everything was really, really well done in this movie. When you get to the nitty gritty about this movie too, you have a lot of little secret things that you catch here and there. I was talking with one of my friends, and I think we saw the little boy at one of the beginning of the movies, and he speculated that that's Cable, and I actually kind of think that is. You also see him come out later on out of the school at the end of the movie. You see a Bishop as a full-grown adult, and you see at other points in this movie the little, like a younger version of what you think is Bishop. It looks exactly like him. I thought it was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. And you see these like little cool things, like I'm saying, Cable, Bishop. You see Jean Grey coming back at the end of the movie with Scott Summers, Cyclops coming back at the end of the movie. Just awesome little Easter eggs, things that can straighten out the timeline, get rid of the negative stuff from the previous movies. And not all the previous movies were negative. There was some parts that, you know, took a detour and maybe put a negative effect on the movies, but they were still good movies beforehand, and they're able to right these wrongs, right the ship. And I really enjoyed these Easter eggs and all the little things that they're able to do to right the ship. It was all working together in a great fashion. I don't have much to say about this movie negatively, other than maybe a little bit more action, but at the same time, it didn't need it. It had good tension, and that build up to the action scenes in set piece moments where Magneto's carrying a whole stadium to drop around the White House so nobody can escape. So he's, you know, cordoned off so nobody can get in. Just awesome job by Bryan Singer, the cast, the crew. Everything worked well in this movie. I am so excited to see what's going to happen in the future with X-Men Apocalypse. There was an end credit scene that was revolving around Apocalypse and his four horsemen. That was a really awesome end credit scene. I was going bonkers in the theater when this was happening. Nobody knew what was going on, and I was just like, oh my god, Apocalypse, the four horsemen, oh my god. And then I heard people saying like, hey, that's the four horsemen. Oh yeah, it's the four horsemen. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I am so ecstatic and overjoyed with what happened in this movie, and the end product was amazing. I am excited to see what's going to happen in the future with Apocalypse. I am definitely interested in seeing where Apocalypse is going to be taking place, what time, because I've heard it stated that it's going to be taking place in the 80s, but at the end of this movie, you're back in approximately 2020, because at the end of Wolverine, at the time where they pick up and they meet Wolverine in the airport, I think it's 2 to 4 years past, so it'd be like around 2017, and since then, even more time has passed in this movie to get to the point at the beginning of the movie before they go back in time. So at the end of the movie, you're looking at somewhere in the 2020s, and it's been stated that Apocalypse is taking place in the 80s. You have characters that were born in the 70s or 60s that happened to show up in the other movies like Gambit. Now, we don't know if that character is going to get wiped out and not be born at that time, maybe be born later on in the timeline. But you got things like that, like you have Channing Tatum going to be playing Gambit. He's going to be showing up in Apocalypse. You have Evan Peters, who's a young kid as well, playing Quicksilver, and he's going to be in Apocalypse. I don't think you could have Channing Tatum be playing a 50-some-odd-year-old Gambit in the 2020s or 2030s when Apocalypse awakens, or Evan Peters playing the same age character. I mean, it's not going to work. They're just not that old in real life. So I'm really excited to see where we go from here with this movie into X-Men Apocalypse, the Gambit solo movie, and the next Wolverine. So many things going on inside my head. Please let me know what you guys think, what is going on in your guys' head down below. Let's have a great conversation about this. Let me know what you thought of the movie, and I'm just excited. I am probably going to go see this movie again in a couple days, and definitely go see this movie in theater. Great movie. Go see this in theater, and you guys are just going to have a grand old time with this movie. It's a great movie. One of the best of the year so far, and I would like to see what happens when award season comes up. Again, that's it for this edition, special edition of Movie Time, guys. Check back on the channel for next week's episodes of the Video Game Show, Movie Time. Alright, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.